Hello everybody, January 20th, 2022. On Monday, I was looking for Bitcoin to stay above 19K and proceed upwards to 22.5 to 23.3. You can see where we are right now is 22.5. Now, that being said, with some of the further action later in the week, that did kind of adjust that zone upwards a little bit, so I do want to see it hit at least 23K now. But in any case, it is looking like a pretty strong case here for the bulls to actually give us these 5 waves up. The micro action, was still pretty unclear. We did see another sort of spike down closer to that 20K area. And I just didn't have any confidence in short-term moves. I still really don't, although some clarity is coming to me at this point. All right, so let's just review this quickly. First off, this red line here, 15.7, I did not want to see broken for the macro viewpoint. Because we broke down below it, I just don't know what the macro is really gonna have in store for us. Whether this is actually the start of a new bull run, and if it is, what the target would be for it, I'm not exactly sure, because that macro viewpoint has kind of been shattered at this point with the move below 15.7. However, it's possible that it is the start of a new bull run, or I believe worst case for the bulls at this point is that this is potentially at worst an A wave, meaning we would get a B wave pullback and then a C wave higher. So at worst we should be looking at seeing 30K after a pullback here, and at best it would actually be the beginning of a new bull run where we would see this turn into a larger 5-wave move up, and who knows, potentially break a new high. We'll see. That's what I'm not quite sure about, but it doesn't really matter for positioning. We're going to use the lower time frame action to decide on positioning. I've been in cash basically since 50K. I've been in and out, on some scalps and stuff in the meantime, but essentially, all of my positions were sold right around 50K a year and a half ago, whenever that was. It's been quite a while that I've been mostly in cash. Again, with some dipping of my toes into the market again. So anyway, I'm getting ready now to go back into crypto, back into Bitcoin here with these moves. I remained very skeptical, and the reason is, number one, this is a diagonal at best for this wave 1, which it can lead us to a bull market, but it's a little less reliable. And then we didn't have a clear pullback. This doesn't look like 3 waves to me, and so that made me very skeptical. Now, obviously, I was wrong, and that happens. I had about an 80% win rate last year, which means 20% of the time I was wrong in my trades, and that's okay. There's always going to be a loss rate associated with trading. All right, so all of that being said, we do, I think, have enough evidence here to say we've got 5 waves. We really should push up into this zone, as I said, 23 to 24K. So one more little push up is what we should see, and that would finish off what looks in the macro, or on this hourly chart anyway, like a pretty decent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something I can consider 5 waves anyway. It's certainly not the cleanest I've seen with that diagonal start. There's certainly almost impossible to see 5 waves within here. This final wave we're doing now potentially is giving us a little bit better of a microstructure. If I zoom in a little bit here, you can see, this looks a little bit more like 1, 2, 3. We're probably going to do a little pullback here over the weekend for 4, and then a 5th wave higher, maybe early next week, or maybe this weekend, depending on how accelerated that time frame goes. But in any case, we do potentially have that 5-wave structure here on the micro for this larger 5th wave, so that is good, assuming we hit that target area and then pull back. If we don't pull back from that target area, well, things are, going to remain pretty fuzzy then. It would be a possibility that this is 1, 2, as I said before, but maybe that's not the top of 3. Maybe this is all part of 3 still. We may then have, a 4 and a 5 higher yet before the larger pullback. But at some point, we should have a larger pullback on which to grab some pretty high probability entries. So as of right now, I'm expecting 23 to 24K to be that topping out point based on what I'm seeing. But if we don't really see a significant pullback from there, then it's possible we're still within that wave 3 and we'll see the larger pullback a little bit later. There always is a pullback. That's how markets work. They don't go up in a straight line forever, so there's plenty of time to figure out where the top is and buy in on the subsequent pullback. But this has now, because of this structure, given us a really good indication that the bulls intend to make at least one more wave up, and I will be a buyer whenever the deeper pullback happens. That deeper pullback, if we get to here, let's just take off some of these fib lines here. And let's just pretend we get sort of to the middle of that real quick. We would draw fib, and we're basically just going to target the 382 to the 618. So that would be right here. Ideally, we would get down to about 20K, potentially as low as 18K. Keeping in mind that sometimes in second wave pullbacks, we only target the 4th wave of the prior wave, so possibly we only get down to like that mid 20 area, but ideally we would hit a little bit lower into this area. 19 would be an excellent place to target, in my opinion, right around that 0.5 fib, but again, it could go as deep as 18. And then I would be putting money in spot positions, and my stop out point would be below the 886. Because below that, then this is a failure of an impulse, and we would expect further down. So at this point in time, anything below like these levels here, 16.2 or so, would obviously not be good. And this target area here is going to depend on if we do in fact get that rejection or not. But at the moment, 18 to 20K is the pullback zone I'm going to be looking for, with the understanding that it could change as more action develops. And we will go from there. So have a good weekend, everybody. We'll see how this plays out over the next few days, and I'll update you all again on Monday. But it's looking good for the bulls. I'm becoming a bit of a believer here. And I'll talk to you all on Monday. We'll see how we've progressed.